Thanks for watching this Coastline Church video. If you would like to get further connected, you can email us at hello@coastlinensb.com or visit us at facebook.com/coastlinensb.
Yeah, so in life, life happens, right? In our jobs, in our relationships, in our marriages, in our finances. How many of you guys can think back to a time, you might be in this time right now, where there's a specific area in your life, and it feels like you're just facing this giant mountain, and there's no way to get over it or get through it. Anybody ever experienced anything like that? Yeah. Some of you guys, you might have experienced it. Maybe you're going to Targets, you go to swipe your card, there's people behind you, and the lady says, "I'm sorry, your payment was declined." Sad times, right? I know, Eric, you've never felt that, have you? That's a tough thing to feel. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's worse because when you get in the car afterwards, you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, I got paid 3-4 days ago, and I still got 2 more weeks to get paid. What's going to happen? I don't know how I'm going to get through this." That's a tough thing to feel in life. Sometimes it's life in our jobs and what we do for a living. I know a couple people in my life that I'm helping counsel them through right now, and one of the biggest problem that they have, the problem that they're facing, is that they hate what they do for a living. They hate what they feel like their purpose has become. They've done this thing for 10 years, for 20 years, and they look at me and say, "Brian, I don't want to wake up and go to that job anymore. I feel like God has got something more for me. But I don't know how to get there." For some people, they're facing that problem in their marriages, right? You wake up, you might have woken up this morning or been driving in the van on the right here and looking at the person next to you and be like, "Man, if I could just punch you and not get back." I'm just being honest. Can I be real for a second? Sorry, if you want the politically correct pastor, you got to find somewhere else. But I'm just being real. I understand what it feels like to wake up and be frustrated with a person. You went to bed mad at them, you woke up mad at them. And you're thinking, "Man, how are we going to get through this? How are we going to face this problem?" I'm going to say this, I don't think that any of these problems, whatever problem that you're facing, that you're dealing with, I don't think that you're supposed to get through it alone. I think that God has a plan for you to get through it. And I think that no matter what you feel right now, no matter how big the mountain is, or how tall it is, or the obstacle that you're trying to get around, or you're trying to get to, I know that through God, everything, every little thing in that situation is still going to be all right. This past week, I had a really cool experience with my kids. If you don't know me, I really enjoy fishing, okay? And so my kids are 4 and 2, and they kind of, through being experienced in life with me, they've seen me come home with fish, and, they love kind of seeing the fish. Olivia loves to, touch the eyeball of the fish, which is kind of psycho to me. I don't know. I hope she's okay. We'll pray for her. Ben loves to watch, fishing videos with me. Well, we're at Bass Pro Shop the other day, and they come and they say, "Hey." Well, they didn't say hey because they don't talk that well. They just said they wanted something. What they wanted was these little kitty fishing poles. And for me, dude, I'm such a sucker. If you want something to Barbie, I'm like, "Nah, dude, you're on your own. Go get a job." But fishing poles, I'm like, dude, let's. And so we went and we got these 2 little kids fishing poles. We got an Anna Elsa fishing pole, and then we had some other type of fishing pole, or whatever, a Cars fishing pole, or whatever the kiddies' fishing poles are. And they said, "Dad, we want you to." Eric and Olivia said, "Dad, will you take us fishing?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So the next day we made this daddy, daughter, and son date with Eric. We got a family. We're going fishing. We got the stuff together. We went and got shrimp from the bait shop and everything. And we go down to the river, and even the walk down, man, it was picture perfect, melt your heart, this Hallmark type card, the image in your brain and your heart that is going on with these little kids carrying the fishing poles, ready to go fishing with their dad, man. It was it'd bring a tear to your eye thinking about it. They had fun. It was really cool. I think we got a picture of it. That's them. First trip fishing. And they're all smiles right there. And that lasted about 2 minutes. And what in my heart was like, man, this is going to be so exciting, such a good time. This is the beginning of so many great fishing trips. We're going to play hooky together. I'm going to take them out of school. We're going to go fishing. I've got these dreams I've had. And they crashed horribly on this day. Like, we got one line in the water with one shrimp before Bubby is like about ready to jump into the water and running up and down the docks. Within like 3 seconds, like Olivia's tangled up in the line and got me tangled up in the line. And then Bubby's like got his, like, he's doing this with a fishing pole with a hook on the end of it, and we're like trying to dodge. It was terrible. And me as a dad, like, I did the typical dad thing, like, okay, stop. I'm trying to manage it all, get it all to work correctly, and it's just not happening. And so finally, at the end of it, we stuck it out for about half an hour, 45 minutes. Like, seriously, and that was a God miracle that we were able to do that. And like, everything was so tangled. Like, it started off great, but by the end of it, I kind of felt like this. Just felt like tangled up in everything. Like, if there was knots we were making, I didn't even know was a knot. Like, we had to like throw one of the fishing poles away. It was so like covered, and it was just terrible. Terrible experience. And I was thinking about, like, now on the back end of it, man, it's fun. It's something that we can laugh about. But while it was happening, it was very stressful. It was one of those things where the dreams of what I had to come, I'm like, if this is the start, it's going to be bad experience fishing with these kids at any point. I know at some point, dads, that's just what we do. We got to bait the hooks. We got to take the fish off the hooks. I'm excited for those days. But in the moment of when it's happening, now that I'm on the back end, I understand what's going to happen over the next couple of years. But in the moment, it just seemed like this big mountain that there was no way that I could get through. And my heart just sank. For you, I don't know what mountains you're facing today. I don't know what things you're fighting with. I don't know if they're financial. I don't know if it's based because of your marriage or your relationship with your boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know if you're facing a mountain with your job. I know some people that, even in our church, that are facing mountains because of their health. I'm going to tell you, I don't think being a Christian means that we don't have to face these things. I don't think being a Christian means that we don't go through difficult times and we don't get afraid and we don't have to struggle. But I think it means that there's a way out of it. No, that's wrong. I know that it means if we follow Christ, we can get up and we can get over it. And so today, with whatever the mountain is that you're dealing with, whatever the struggle is, I want you to live in this verse. Over the next 4 weeks, I want you to remember this. Maybe you put it up on your fridge. Maybe you put it on your phone, on your wallpaper or something. But it's Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And it says this. It says, and we know that God causes, what's that next word? Everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. Let me read it again. And we know that God causes everything. Do you know that if you look into the meaning of like that word, its original text in the Greek, that word that we communicate as everything, the Greek word for it, you know what that word means actually? It means everything. If we know that we know that God causes everything to work for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. That means the mountain, however big it is, or the little things that make up the mountain, whatever you're facing, I believe, and you need to believe, that God is going to work it all out for good. I believe it 100%. With whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're fighting with, God can work it out for good. And the reason I know this is because I've seen it in my own life, but I've also read countless and countless stories in the Bible that shows this principle to be true. In the book of Genesis, chapter 37, Genesis is the very first book of the Bible. In that book, in the chapter of 37th chapter, there starts a story of a man named Joseph. Now, Joseph is not the Joseph that is Jesus' father in the New Testament. This is the first Joseph. This is before Jesus was alive. Joseph, in this story, is the son of his father, and his father has 10 other sons, and Joseph is the youngest. One thing that you need to know in this day and age, being the youngest of the sons means that you didn't get anything. Like, when the inheritance came, like, the majority of it went to the eldest son, and then it got, like, spread apart over all the rest of the sons. The youngest son, he didn't get a whole lot. So he was low on the totem pole when it comes to the reality of culture in that day. The only problem with that, though, is, in Joseph's father's eyes, Joseph was number one. Joseph was the favorite. So this kind of messed up the other brothers. The other 10 brothers in the time, they were kind of frustrated and mad at this because Joseph was the favorite, but Joseph was the smallest. He was the youngest. He was the one that was supposed to do all the hard stuff and do all the work and chase down the sheep and do this and do that. But all they saw was that Joseph was the favorite. Since this made them so mad, they actually conspired and had this thought of like, hey, we're going to kill Joseph. Now, that's pretty tough, man. Like, I've seen some families bicker and fight and everything like that, but if you're mad at someone enough to want to kill him, that's a pretty big deal. One of the brothers were talking about it, I said, no, let's not kill him. We'll throw him in this pit. And so one day when he was coming out to meet them, they captured him and threw him in a pit and ended up selling him into slavery. Sometimes when I think of this story, I think about if I were Joseph. Has anyone here ever been hurt by family before? It's a tough thing, man. See, my family, I'm probably closest of any people on this earth. I'm closest with my family. I know that I can say things in truth, and they're not going to get offended. They're still going to be my family. I know they can say stuff to me. I'm not going to get offended. They're still going to be my family. No matter what happens, I know that they love me and that they know that I love them. I know I'm blessed with that. Some of you guys, you might not have it. Maybe there's someone in your life that is close to you that's hurt you before. Maybe one of the things that you're facing in your mountain is based off of someone close to you that's hurt you. Maybe they haven't sold you into slavery or anything, but maybe they sold you down the river. Maybe they went and they threw you under the bus with something. Or they put the blame on you. And now, because of that, your relationship with them is forever changed. It's not an easy thing to deal with. It was not an easy thing, I'm sure, that Joseph had to deal with. Joseph got sold into slavery. He actually became the servant of a man named Potiphar. Potiphar was the captain of Pharaoh's guard. It says that while Joseph was part of Potiphar's household, that Joseph was really great at managing everything. And so it got to the point where Potiphar actually had him manage his entire household. Everything about it. So you can tell that God was with Joseph, and he continued to bless Joseph. Well, as Joseph continued to grow, and as he grew older, it says the Bible says that he was very handsome. He was a smart guy, he was a very handsome guy. So it says in the Bible that Potiphar's wife actually started to like Joseph and tried to get him to be with her. Joseph, because of who he is and understanding that that's wrong, he denies her and he runs away from her. He says, I'm not going to do that. My boss has put me in charge of everything. There's no way that I'm going to sin and do this. And so he runs away, and Potiphar's wife actually accuses him falsely, saying that he did go be with her against her will. Here's Joseph. He's already been down on his luck. He's already been hurt by his family. And now he's being lied about. And Potiphar, because of it, throws him into prison. Now here's the thing, I can't help but think that if I'm Joseph, I'm in prison. Man, it's not like prison today where they've got like air conditioning and bologna sandwiches and TV and stuff like that. They didn't have that type of stuff back then. Prison back then was was really tough stuff. But it says that the Lord was still with Joseph. And Joseph was continuing to be blessed. Joseph, at this point, starts to understand specific dreams. Dreams that he's having, dreams that people around him are having. And at some point, these two guys that are part of Pharaoh's court, these guys that are the baker, and I'm escaping of what the other guy was. I think he was the cupbearer. They were in prison, and they both of them had specific dreams, and Joseph was able to interpret them. And because of these dreams, one of them was able to get out of the prison. And Joseph told him, he says, hey, because I've done this for you, please remember me when you go see Pharaoh. Get me out of this. There's got to be, man, I've been sold, I was my father's favorite. I've been sold into slavery by my brothers. I was then lied about and accused of rape. And now I'm in prison. Help me get out of here. And it says that 2 years went by. After those 2 years, it said Pharaoh started to have a dream. And the cupbearer at that time, he remembered back to what Joseph had said, and that fact that Joseph understood how to interpret dreams. He brought him to Pharaoh, and he was able to interpret Pharaoh's dreams. Pharaoh knew he was blessed by God and said, you're going to prepare us for what's next. Joseph had predicted that there was going to be a famine that was going to come all across the land. And so Pharaoh put him in charge of everything in the kingdom of Egypt and said, you prepare us. And he did that. Joseph went from being the younger brother to being the slave, to being the prisoner, to being the vice president. And it says that all along that that the Lord was with him. The story, the way it ends, is actually pretty cool. Because of the famine that was on the land, Joseph's brothers actually had to go looking for food. And one of the places that they had to go looking for food was in the kingdom of Egypt. And so they came to Egypt, and immediately, it says Joseph knew who they were. He saw that they were his brothers. Because of what he had been through. Because of the things he had gone through that prepared him for where he was. The end of the story goes like this. He was able to provide food for his family. He was able to provide food for all of Egypt and for the surrounding lands. There was some tough stuff that he had to go through. There were some mountains that he was facing along the way. But the Lord was with him. And I believe that with you. I don't know specifically what you're facing. And I know that it's tough. And I know for me to stand up here and specifically say, hey, you can get through it. I know that's physically easy for me to do. It's a lot harder for you to actually do it. But I want to give you hope in this. I believe, I know, that God causes everything, no matter how big or how little, to work together for good for those who love Him. And that's what I want for you. And whatever you're dealing with, I want it to work out for good. It can work out for good. You need to know that. There's a couple things that I think that you can do to make this a little bit easier, okay? 3 things specifically that you can do that will help you to get over the mountain that you're facing, the thing that you're doing. The first thing is this. The first thing I believe you should do when facing a mountain is pray. Look at your neighbor and say, pray. Matthew chapter 33 says this, or chapter 6 verse 33 says this, says, seek the kingdom of God above all else, and live righteously, and He will give you, what's that word? Everything you need. You know what that means in Hebrew? Everything. Exactly. You guys are catching on, man. Seek the kingdom of God. I think when it comes to whatever you're facing, there's so many times that we go and we hit a problem, we hit a wall, we hit a mountain, and we start to think, man, how are we going to get over this? What do I have to do? I've got to get with my friends, I've got to tell them about this, I've got to tell them what's going on with my husband or my wife, or I got to tell them what my boss did. I think many times we try to figure out what's the power to get over the mountain, what's the thing that we got to do to get through it. And we keep plugging into the wrong power source. We read a book and we're like, this is a self-help book. How to, get over things in less than 30 days. We talk to a friend and they give us advice. When the truth is, I think the first step we got to do is we got to start praying about it. Whatever we're facing, whatever we're dealing with, we've got to be talking to Jesus about it. And prayer isn't this mystical thing or whatever where you've got to get into a room and burn incense or anything like that. It's a conversation between you and Jesus Christ. And no matter if you've never prayed before or you pray every day, I'm telling you, when you face a mountain like this, whatever you're facing, first step that you've got to do is pray. It's said in the Bible that the Lord was with Joseph. Some of us need to be bringing our stuff to the Lord. You guys don't know this, but earlier in when the band was practicing, we were having a problem with Joe Nelson's guitar. It was like fading out. It wasn't working right. And he's looking at the sound guy and says, "You're an idiot." And the sound guy looks at him and says, "You're an idiot." And they're going back and forth. They didn't really say that, but while you guys were playing, I figured out what the problem was. You know what it was? You're plugged into the wrong power source back here. It's flickering the whole time because it's dropped. It doesn't have the power to do what you need it to do. And I think sometimes we do the same thing with us. We're trying to get over the mountain. We're plugged into the wrong power source. We're plugged into the wrong thing. We're getting advice from friends like, well, this is what you need to do in your marriage. If I was married, this is what I would do. That's number one wrong step. If your friends start to sense with, if I was married and you're listening to them for advice, come on now. If I had kids, here, I'll give you mine for a day. Let's see how that works out. Step in, plug in with prayer. It'll make all the difference. The second thing I believe is this. I believe that you've got to pray. You've got to be in prayer. The second thing is, I think you have to have patience. Look at your neighbor and say, patience. If they don't say it back, you say it upside their head. Patience. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6 says this. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. I believe if you trust in God, if you have patience and have faith in Him, He's going to show you which way you should be going. He's going to tell you which path to take to get over the mountain or to get around the mountain, or the path to get through the tunnel that's through the mountain. But you've got to have patience. We live in a day and age where you don't have to have patience at all, man. You can watch whatever you want on your phone or your iPad or your computer screen. We were at the hospital a couple weeks ago, and I was hungry. You don't even have to go to a restaurant. They got this thing, Uber Eats now, that you can call up and someone will drive you food. That's crazy. It's not even a pizza delivery guy. It's like whatever food you want. What we want right now, man, Amazon. We're sitting here today, microphone went bad. I said, Brandon, order on Amazon. It's going to be here in 2 days. We don't have to go to the store. Everything we get is instant gratification. I don't think that's how God works, though. Because I'm sure that Joseph along the way is saying, God, help me get through this, help me get through this, help me get through this. God, help me get out of prison. And it says, 2 years later, He's going to get you through it. It might not be right now. You know why it might not be right now? Because with Joseph, if God had gotten him out of it right then, he would have not been in the place he needed to be to get the ones he loved through what they had to do. Sometimes it takes just a little bit of patience. The last thing is this. We're on 3 P's on focus. We've got prayer, we've got patience. The last one is perspiration. Sometimes, to get over the mountain that you're facing, it's going to take a little bit of work. Just a little bit. I think about Joseph when he was the head over Potiphar's household. I'm sure he wasn't doing that sitting in his office. I'm sure there was some delegation that was involved, but there was also some hard work that was involved. I'm sure when he was managing all of Egypt, there was some hard work that was involved to do it. He said the Lord was with him. And I believe that in your mountain and the thing that you're facing, the Lord is with you as well. But it's also going to take a little bit of work on your part. going to take a little bit of grace on your part. If your mountain has something to do in your marriage or your relationship, it might have to take a little bit of work, and you might have to sit down with a counselor and talk some stuff out. If it's a situation with your job, you know what? It's easy to want to quit, but I don't know if that's how you get over your mountain. It might take a little bit of hard work to set something else up or to get you to the next step. I believe that the Lord can be with you in it if you continue to pursue Him in all of it. But it also is going to take just a little bit of hard work. It's something that in today's day and age, it's not something that people have in common. Not a lot of people have it. But for what you're facing in your job or in your finances, you know, if your mountain is financial, if it's debt, I don't know of a lot of places that are just shelling out lots of cash to get people out of debt. If you know that place, like, let me know, because I'll back up. I'll go check it out, whatever. But I think for some people, for a lot of people, you know how to get out of debt? It takes a little perspiration. They got God with them on their side. We're going to talk about some of these stories here in this next month. God's on their side, but it takes a little bit of work too. It takes some planning. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But you can get through it. Last thing is this. I told you there's 3. Prayer, patience, perspiration. I lied. There's a 4th. 4th is, for me, it's praise. I was talking to Debbie Nichols. She's our office manager. She's also my mom. So I was talking to Mom this past week. And we're talking about a specific song. And she was saying, man, there's something about when I sing that. Like, no matter what I'm going through, no matter what I'm fighting against or whatever, I know that if I start feeling like I'm climbing a mountain, I'm going to put this song on. And I'm going to praise it out. I'm going to thank God in advance for what He's going to do. I'm claiming it. I'm claiming that He's going to show up. I'm claiming that everything's going to be all right. And it reminded me that I've got a similar song. I remember flying to Costa Rica about a month ago, 2 months ago, a couple months ago. And I don't know about you, but like as a big guy, I'm not good with heights. Like I know that big guys go up, they got to come down, and the coming down part's hard. But especially on a plane, it's like compounded because you got height, and then you're also got a control issue because you're not the guy steering the thing. And I'm all sorts of messed up. So I put on this song, it's by Hillsong. It's called Everything, or Every Little Thing. It's going to be all right. I started singing it, and the guys probably next to me, they probably thought I was crazy. Well, one of them was my wife. She thinks I'm definitely crazy. But as I sang that for the first time, it kind of just stuck on the playlist. I remember driving down the road a couple weeks later and getting frustrated at something. I said, you know what? I'm going to turn the song, I'm going to start praising it out. Say every little thing. It's going to be all right. Everything's going to work out just fine. When Eric and I were facing some frustrations with our marriage, I know just by looking at us, it looks like, man, we're probably like the perfect Disney couple. Everything is just fine all the time. I mean, we're both dead sexy and nice all the time to one another. But when Erica and I are having a fight or something, man, I'll put this on in the car and just drive around. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to work out just fine. We're going to sing this in just a second. It's going to be really easy, but I want to challenge you that with what you're facing, whatever your mountain is, whether it's marriage, whether it's health, whether it's financial, whether it's purpose or life-driven, no matter what the thing is that you're trying to get up and over, sometimes you just got to start giving thanks for it before you get over it. Sometimes you got to praise God and say, God, you know what? No matter what it looks like, no matter how tall it is, no matter how hard it is to get around, no matter the work that's going to take, the patience it's going to take for me to get through it, I know it's still going to be all right. I know that God works everything for good for those that love Him. And God, I love you, so I'm going to praise you for it in advance.